confusion.
Fingers!
It's all separated now.
We have a topic?
Yeah.
What's today's topic?
Cosplay controversies.
Ooh, cosplay controversies.
So, we're gonna start. Okay.
We're gonna start.
Are we rolling?
This is the fun part. Yeah.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome to SGNS's first ever podcast. We're gonna be talking about cosplay controversies tonight. And we have like a whole list of things that we want to cover. If you follow me or Ray from SGNS on our Instagrams, we also live stream it. So for next time's podcast, if you want to be a part of the conversation, just follow us there. So I think the first thing that we had, oh God, should I say I'm your host? I'm Kamon. I'm Kamon Tari. I'm your host.
And I'm Ray Coffie, your other host.
So we're going to talk about konbanwa. Ashita. Oh, sorry, it's an old friend from Japan. Anyways, so I think our first thing on the agenda is just kind of to talk about our relation to the cosplay industry. So I'm a cosplayer and I treat it very professionally. I'm an aspiring professional cosplayer, I guess I should say. So what I specialize in is promotional work and then charity work as well. So I work for clients and then also work for myself and raise money for charities.
My relation to cosplay is I cosplay sometimes. My cosplay is too hard. It's not too hard, it's just too hot because all black. Star Wars, of course.
And I did. At the camera,
and right? Oh yeah, I'm looking at 2 cameras. I'm looking at 3 cameras, so yeah, I understand. But I was it at the Albuquerque Comic Con, and that was a fun cosplay. It wasn't my cosplay, I borrowed it, but it was freaking awesome. Everybody thought I was Everett. Everett, hi buddy, pal, It was awesome. Oh yeah, I'm kind of a cosplayer, I would say. I would like to do other cosplays when I have the time and the Benjamins.
So I've been doing cosplay for probably about I first learned about cosplay in high school, but then I started doing it like seriously for probably like almost 3 years now. And what about you?
2 years. 2 years of cosplay. I love it. It's the attention. The attention. I love it.
Okay, so we both have like some years of, experience in just being around cosplayers in the community. So I think we both have our own opinions on like what goes on in the community and
oh yeah,
the bad stuff that happens there too. I'm also like really opinionated, like as a person in general, so it'll be pretty interesting to
Hi,
hear what
Lost.
you have to say.
Cosplay is not consent.
Yeah, and I think that just kind of goes, it touches on, when we cosplay characters that have been made, these characters have like very revealing outfits, but cosplayers cosplay characters not just for their appearance. I mean, some may do, but a lot of it is usually just love for the fandom or like love for the character in the writing.
Correct.
So.
It's not their fault that the creators created the character super sexy. It's just nice to look, but don't touch.
Right.
Do not touch. It is not right.
Yeah, I want to touch on that, like, just because someone is in a revealing outfit or whatever doesn't mean that they're asking for some sort of behavior, obviously.
There's a lot of pervs, especially outside and inside of cons. They're just pervs. That's just the world we live in. Pervs, pervs, pervs.
Yeah, and I think, like, people who do cosplay, like, or are considering doing cosplay should know that you are going to get looked at, There are going to be guys who try to take sneaky ass shots of you. There's just like no avoiding it, but it's important that when something like that does happen that you try to do something about it and you speak up about it and you just don't like let it happen,
That's right. Don't be scared. Get loud. Get in their face and tell them, don't touch me. And if you need a bodyguard, call me 1-800-BEAT-'em-UP. I'll be there and I'll beat them up.
So, or you can hire Ray as a personal bodyguard. That'll solve the problem. But I also think it's important because what's been happening recently is that I feel like the community is holding conventions themselves responsible for not doing anything about the sexual harassment that's been going on. So I see a lot of stuff on social media about like how conventions and the owners of the conventions, you know, kind of just allow that type of behavior to happen when they shouldn't.
Yeah, there's just a lot of weirdos. You know, if you're at a con and you see somebody who's just following you around, you need to confront this person or go to the security and let them know, hey, this person is kind of creeping me out. So they can approach him and talk to him and tell him, you know, back up, or they just gotta escort him out because maybe he's done it to other people. Oh, those guys are just predators.
Well, I think it's really, one, I wanted to say, like, always ask too if you're gonna take a photo or if you like want a hug or something like that. It's okay to go and ask, and if you know the person, well, most cosplayers will say yes, but like if the person says no, it's most likely because you know they're rushing to get somewhere, or you know they're eating or something and they don't want to be bothered right now. So like don't get offended if people say no, but you know just always ask. And about the photographer thing, anybody who's under the age of 18, like legally, I think you need to like have an adult with you, just to make sure that everything goes okay, and for the adult to make sure that the photographer isn't going to do anything, not just physically, but also like kind of like business sneaky wise or anything like that, because a lot of photographers, I've heard of like photographers who will just take hallway shots and then sell them to like newspapers and stuff to get it published in articles. And you should really make sure that you give them permission to use your photo for something like that. Or if you're not comfortable with that they don't do it at all. So with underage people, not saying that anybody under 18 or anything like that is immature or anything, but you know, you guys are young and vulnerable to people who are looking for younger victims. I don't know what to call them.
There's some sharks out there.
Yeah, and just really make sure you always have somebody with you and you're safe. You have a way to contact, like, you know, any emergency contacts if needed. So like look at the photographer's portfolio before you agree to do it with them, and you know, have a conversation with them. And if anything, at any point in time in the conversation or like meeting them or doing the photo shoot, whatever, if you feel uncomfortable, like say something. And then if they don't oblige, then just leave. The cosplay groups. So
cosplay groups.
Yeah, the next topic I wanted to talk about was cosplay groups, like people who do specific cosplays, kind of like furries and lolitas and stuff like that. I just there's a lot of I don't know where to start with this one, because it's like, okay, so cosplay is meant for anybody, right? The whole reason or popularity of cosplay is because anybody can do it, and that the community is so inclusive because, you know, it's supposed to be a fun activity. But there's like a lot of cliques that happen always, like no matter what you do. So that happens in cosplay naturally. And so there's people who are not okay with like furries or with lolitas, and whether it's cosplay or not. And I wanted to just kind of like know your opinions on like what those groups like. I
think some of those groups are savages. Not saying any names. Some of them could be mean. I was like, why can't we all just get along? I was like, everybody cosplays. Some of these groups are just like, nah, my group's better than your group. I was like, come on, we all cosplayers. Let's all get along. Let's all be a big happy family. And some of these groups are like, nah, not having it.
Definitely. I have my own opinions on like the groups, like furries. Nothing against furries. It's just I actually have like this weird phobia of people in mascot costumes, like just like not being able to see like anything about that person like really freaks me out, and then they come up and give you a hug and it's just like, you know, I don't know you. I've always been that way. Like I never wanted to sit on Santa's lap when I was younger. You know, the mascot
Oh,
outfits
oh.
at like sports games. I never wanted to like hug them or anything. They were like really scared me. So like nothing against furries. I'm okay around them. It's just like they really get into their characters sometimes, and that's where I can't play along, you know? I just can't play along.
I was kind of surprised the first time I saw a furry at a Comic-Con. I was like, oh, this is new. I'm not used to seeing that. I mean, it's welcome. It's something new. I was like, hey, mascots, bring them. Frig it. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Bring them on. All costumes are welcome to the Comic-Con. That's the best thing. Wear whatever you want. Don't let no one tell you what you can't wear.
Definitely. That's
the thing about
the most
cosplay.
important thing. When I was young and I was just like learning about Japanese culture and stuff, I had a friend who was super into Lolita stuff, and she actually told me that kind of like Lolita is more like a lifestyle. Like people who choose to do Lolita, it's like actually a lifestyle. Like you have clothes, Lolita clothes for every occasion. You like do an activity that Lolitas do. You're always dainty and whatever. So like to call it cosplay to me is like really strange, because it's like if someone chooses to live their life a certain way, then it's like it shouldn't be a costume. But at the same time, it's like I also see, you know, the attraction with Lolitas is just like the dresses are beautiful, they're gorgeous, and like I want to do it like I want to have one Lolita dress, you know. But
is there such thing as a Lolito?
they have boy Lolitas. I think that's what they call it. They call it boy Lolitas.
Boy Lolitas. I'm gonna have to look this up. If anybody on there, you can research Lolitos or boy Lolitas. Could just confirm that for me. Just yeah.
No, really. I don't know. To me, it's kind of weird, like that we take certain things from life and then we make it into a costume, and then we just like some people are really offended by it and then others aren't. Because it's like we have all of these like Halloween costumes that are like, you know, sexy doctor and stuff, and people are like, guys, can you please not do like sexy versions of that? I mean, I enjoy it because it's the fantasy and the outfits are really cute, like no lie, but I see where other people are coming from. Like we shouldn't make costumes out of it because these are like really important people who are doing a serious thing, and it's like, are we...
Brolita, it's a thing.
Brolita.
Brolita. That's what chemical. All right, cool. Thanks. He researched it. Brolita.
Geishas
Brolita.
too. Geishas.
I love geishas.
Yeah, but geisha costumes are just like, whoa, you want to like be a sex slave for Halloween? Like, okay.
I don't think some people know what geishas really are.
They're comfort women.
Yes.
They're comfort women. Kids.
They are escorts, old school.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, this is a very, very good topic about how different nationalities cosplay and they don't look good in some cosplays because their skin color. That's bull.
Yeah.
That's bull.
Race and like skin color especially has been like a huge problem in the cosplay community, in my opinion, because it's like because some people just think that you have to have certain features of a character in order to be able to cosplay them, but that's really not true. So for instance, I guess we should take Disney characters. I love like non-Asian, there's only one like Asian Disney character, it's Mulan, and I love Mulan too, but I also love like Alice. She's a favorite of mine. I really like Ariel a lot. And eventually I do want to cosplay them. I mean, I did cosplay Alice. I have a really awesome shoot from that. It's just like, I actually do feel uncomfortable like going out into public doing events like dressed up as like a non-Asian Disney princess. Because like with Disney, like they're meant to be representing that ethnic, you know, group. So it's like, am I really... Like, I just don't want anybody to say anything about it, because like, I don't have a problem with it, but like, I have a problem with people saying something about it. So like one time I was at Wizard World in Portland, and I was Wonder Woman, and a guy said, "Hey, we need to get a picture with Asian Wonder Woman." And that really bothered me.
That's messed up.
It really bothered me. I like almost said something to him, but I didn't, because like I don't think he knew any better, you know? I think it was just pure ignorance.
Sometimes they don't. They're just ignorant.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's hard. It's hard when that happens. And sometimes like I'd rather just not deal with it, so I just cosplay Mulan. You know what I'm saying? It's just easy.
I know when you go to cons and you hear people like, "Oh, that person doesn't look good in that costume." I was like, you just want to turn around like, "Shut up." I was like, well, why don't you just mind your business? They're here to have fun. Why you gotta be that rainy cloud raining on somebody's parade? Get the hell out of here. I slap the stupid out of you. Stupid people.
Yeah. And then like
Haters.
then there's like this whole topic of like changing your skin tone for a cosplay, and that obviously touches on the whole blackface thing. And here is my opinion on it. I might get backlash from it, whatever, but this is my opinion on changing your skin tone about cosplay. If you are that determined to get close to your character, it is okay to change your skin tone, because I have like a list of examples, because like there are characters who have like non-actually human color skin, like Starfire, her skin's orange, or like those like creepy pink characters from Dragon Ball, you know, their skin tone is like a legit pink. And it's like, if it's okay to change your skin tone to that color, then it should be okay to just make it a few shades darker or not. And also, it's the context behind it too. Like, I understand blackface, you know, don't do it, bad. But it's because the whole thing about blackface is that you put on, you know, a darker skin tone to make fun of the African American race or darker skin tones, you know. And here with cosplay, it's never about making fun of the character. You're cosplaying that character because you love that character.
Star Wars is a big example. Very diverse. There's a lot of diversity in these new Star Wars films.
Yeah, it's just like simply the fact that
Fantastic Four is another one, yes.
Race and being offended should not be a part of cosplay, because it's like we're cosplaying these characters because we love these characters and we're just trying to like glorify them. So it's like you shouldn't get offended if somebody changes their skin tone because they're not trying to be offensive. Like, there was this one time, oh my god, okay, so I'm part of like a Disney costume buy, sell, trade group on Facebook, and there was a Caucasian girl selling a Mulan costume, and then she was getting backlash for cosplaying Mulan. Like, there were other white girls calling her out, being like, "You can't cosplay Mulan, that's totally offensive, like, cultural appropriation," like, and I'm like literally here being like, I'm not offended by this at all. I'm actually Chinese, and I am not offended by it. And it's just ridiculous to me that other white girls would call out another white girl for like something that they don't even know about, you know? They're not Chinese. So why stand up for Chinese people if you don't even understand? Why guilt each other? It's just bullying. That's what it is.
It's just bullying. That's what it comes down to.
It's really, there's a thing called white guilt.
It's called white guilt?
Really?
It's called white guilt.
Like, we don't know this because
I didn't know that.
So it's white people standing up for other races?
Yes, pretty much.
So white guilt is when
do that?
white people stand up for other races.
Why do you have
Just
to
learn
do
something
that?
new.
It's totally fine to support another race.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
And like help each other out, like if you see something that's wrong. But like don't try to make problems when there aren't any.
Yeah. If a problem doesn't exist, don't make one.
Right.
Just proceed with life. Life is beautiful.
Exactly.
Life is wonderful. Just move on.
So buying versus selling cosplays. I've heard a lot of drama of when cosplayers criticize each other for buying a costume rather than just making it themselves, because there's an art into bringing like 2D to 3D, and a lot of 2D things like are impossible, like actually impossible to exist in our world, but cosplayers get creative and make it happen. And a lot of that is, you know, you have to make it yourself. So, but then, like, there are some cosplayers who don't know how to sew, who don't have the patience to sew, who just, like, sewing confuses them. I'm one of those people.
Oh, yeah.
And there shouldn't be, like, a backlash if you buy your costume, because it's just, again, it goes back to the whole point that cosplay is all about fun. And so it's like, you are just dressing up as this person and it's fun, and you're with other people who understand, like, you know, the whole love that you have for the character and the fandom. And so it shouldn't matter whether you make or buy your costume, because it just shouldn't, because you both share the love for the same things. So
yeah, plus some people make these costumes and sell them for a living, so you know, it's a cycle, because that's how they make their living. So if they build props, I'm sure some people can't build props, these guys will build it and you buy it. So you know, your money doesn't really like go to waste. It helps to support an artist, because that's what it is. It's an art to make some of these costumes, to make some of these props. It's very time consuming. So if you think it's a walk in the park, believe me, it's not a walk in the park. It's like climbing Mount Everest. Okay, maybe I exaggerated. Maybe it's not like climbing Mount Everest, but it's like climbing a really big mountain. But there's nothing wrong with buying costumes. I mean, let's go back old school, Halloween. Everybody bought costumes. Everybody. Props, everybody bought props. You wanted to be a Ninja Turtle? Guess what? Donatello stick, $20 on the shelf. You gotta buy it. Just like that.
yeah, and I think the whole, like, reason, like, people started making costumes was because, like, buying it was getting expensive. So it's like, you know, there's a reason why people buy costumes, and then there's a reason why people make their own costumes too. And like, I do both, like, actually, with my cosplaying, as, like, I will buy a costume, or I will make it, or I will buy parts of a costume and make the rest, because I just do what the most inexpensive option is for me, because cosplay is, like, a really expensive activity, and so just to keep costs low, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm also, like, really cheap, so you know, it just really shouldn't matter, and I don't really understand why people bully others about, like, buying instead of making. Like, I don't really understand, like, the reasoning behind it.
I don't know, maybe you don't want to make one. Maybe you just want to buy it. You just want to, you know, in and out. Like when you go to In-N-Out Burger, you want to go in, get the burger, and get out. Quick and easy. That's what you want. You don't want to sweat. You don't want to hurt your little delicate fingers. Like, oh, I hurt my fingers making this costume, making these props. That's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't be ashamed.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I get, you know, like, the love and effort that people put into making costumes and stuff, and that's, like, really commendable, but I mean, it's like, I feel like people, like, kind of get caught up in their head as to, like, you know, oh, I made this costume, like, I'm good, like, I'm getting all these compliments and stuff, and then, oh, that person, they didn't make their costume, but they're getting, like, compliments too, so, like, I don't know, maybe they feel like they.
You always have those, you always have those elitist.
Yeah, I just don't get
those
it.
real tryhards. So I was like, my costume was made of the finest material ever. My costume is far superior than your costume. I was like, shut your mouth. I made mine out of cardboard and a banana peel. And what of it?
Yeah.
I had fun making it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, there's people who win costume contests, and it's like, good for you, but don't. Just because you are doing really well and are doing great with your whatever you're doing in life at all, like, it doesn't give you the right to judge what other people do, you know? So, unless, like, you're a judge at a costume contest.
Yeah, don't be judging people. Don't be judging people in costumes. You want to be a judge? Go to law school and become one. You lazy bums.
That also, like, makes me think about when people, like, buy their cosplays and then they lie about that they've made it.
Oh,
too.
Oh, those are like the worst.
Yeah.
I was like.
There's been a few, like, I've actually judged a costume contest where me and the judges were like, are we really sure he made his costume? Because that looks professionally done. And, like, it's just, like, his other, like, parts of his costume just did not match up to the one piece he did have, which was, like, a main part of his costume. And so we just, I mean, we know how to look for that stuff. Or judges should know how to look for that stuff, too. And, like, there's no shame in buying a costume. So, like, you don't need to lie about it. Please don't lie about it.
Yeah.
Because then you just are lying for no reason.
Yeah, you're not giving that person that made that costume the credit they deserve for making that masterwork. I'm pretty sure your mom is a cool judge.
Yeah, I have one who said that most contests require in-progress photos. And yeah, definitely, too. And then there's, so, like, I judged a couple of costume contests at different conventions and stuff. And, there's been a lot of talk about whether we should allow, non-homemade costumes into the contest. And my answer's always been yes, you should let them do it. Because cosplay is not just the craft of the costume, it's also putting everything together, like contacts, wig, shoes, whatever. It's like a whole, like, how you put everything together, and I think that should be considered too. Like, and, like, a lot of people like me who buy their costumes do a lot of alterations to it and to fit your body, to make sure it fits your body the way it should fit. And yeah, exactly. Like, not how people have, like, 3D printed stuff, and, like, not everybody can afford a 3D printer.
Someday, 3D printer, someday.
So I think the solution, to that is that you have a category for non-homemade costumes, and then you have a category for craftsmanship or something like that. Or in the costume contest policy, you put, like, ahead of time, like, we are only looking for, homemade costumes.
Yes.
So, but I really think that there's also a lot of work and effort that's put into bot costumes as well.
Oh yeah. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into that sometimes.
I have a question that says, have I ever judged KomoriCon, which is an anime convention in Portland, Oregon? No, I haven't. I was going to contact them last year about seeing if they wanted to have me, but then I got hired by an old art store I used to work at. So I worked at their booth instead. By the way, it's the Merry Artist. You guys should go check them out because they're awesome.
Nice.
So,
cool.
What questions do you have?
I don't have any questions. Hey, you guys got any questions? Go ahead and ask, and I will answer your questions.
Question time.
Kamon's got questions on her. Where's my questions at?
Questions or comments or anything?
Yeah.
Overall, cosplay is for everybody, and the most important part about it is that you're having fun doing it. And so, like, anyone can cosplay anyone however they want is my one of my mottos. So, like, if you want to do, like, Ash Ketchum and you make your freaking vest out of cellophane, like, you do you, like, and you're still gonna be included and feel safe in the community.
But we have 2 questions. These are good questions.
Yay.
I will answer the first one. How do we decide what cons we go to? Well, we live in New Mexico, so we only go to the cons in New Mexico or close. Like Denver, we're trying to go to Phoenix. And then a good one, props and weapon bans at cons. You clever dog, we almost forgot about that one.
A lot of cons that I choose to go to are just basically any con that would want to have me as a guest. And, like, one of the things is that what I do differently from other cosplay guests, this is very important, people, listen, is that I actually offer my services to conventions. I've had several conventions come up to me and be like, thank you so much for doing this for us, like provide programming like panels or judging or hosting the costume contest, etc. I do these things for cons because, like, apparently none of their other cosplay guests, like, offer that to them. And I can't believe it. I feel like that's so rude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of cosplayers, they have a huge following, and, like, maybe just going there is, like, they think that's enough help for the convention. But, like, I don't know. I like to be involved. I like to do something for the convention if they need it. So, like, basically my choices of what conventions I go to are whatever client wants to hire me for wherever, or whatever convention would want to have me.
My take on the weapons and props band.
Oh God, that's a perfect question.
That is
for
a great
this
question.
podcast.
I know, right? So, I honestly.
Wait, can we start with saying like how this all happened in the first place?
Okay. If you guys don't know how this happened, it happened in Phoenix Comic-Con. Some nuts dressed like the Punisher went in there with a bunch of real guns to the comic book convention. We don't know what this guy was up to, but he looked like a psycho when you look him up and you look at his picture. He looked like he was just ready to cause trouble. But that's how this all started. And that was last year, I believe, last summer. And Phoenix Comic-Con just started banning all weapons and props. I understand if it looks like a gun, yeah, inspect it, make sure it is real. And if it's not real, let the person in with it. Like, if it's not a real gun, just let them in. Like staffs and stuff like that, I think that you can let that in, especially if it's made of foam. Like, who you're going to hurt with foam? Or plastic. Well, plastic might hurt, depending what kind of plastic it is. Whack somebody and they're like, ah! And then we'll see what Kamon has to say on this.
Again, I'm very opinionated, so I might sound snooty. Sorry about that. So when that guy had initially, went to the Comic-Con and he had like real guns and they like arrested him and everything for it, I feel like there was a huge increase in like people threatening conventions as well, being like I've seen posts from like 4chan and stuff like of these people who are like, you nerds need to learn a lesson like next Phoenix Comic-Con or something like that. It's not actually Phoenix Comic-Con, just use them as an example. But I feel like there's a lot of people who like played off of that fear, and so the conventions obviously have to respond to that. But I don't think that banning props and weapons like entirely is the right way to do it, because I don't think they understand that like a weapon or a prop is essential to certain characters, and it's really important.
It's make or break the costume sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is, and so like not having that piece just makes the whole thing feel incomplete and hurts. It hurts our cosplay souls, our little cosplayer souls, But like on a serious note, I think the best way to handle something like that would be to just peace bond and check weapons, and not peace bond like you put a zip tie on that thing, because we work hard on those props and it ruins it. It ruins it when you see that fucking neon zip tie on the prop in a photo. Like, oh God, that bothers me so much. There has to be a better way to just ensure that the prop is fake and harmless, and or we just don't do prop and weapon bans, because that's just like, by banning that stuff, you're kind of just giving into the fear. I feel like you're giving the threatener like what he or she wants. Is that like they want to just ruin our fun. So
those damn killjoys.
There should be a way around it, but
yeah.
But I don't think a complete ban is like the right way to go. Yeah,
I mean, hire more security if you have to. Inspect everything. Take your time. Make sure you pass out little cups of water. Make sure people are not dehydrated, but let them take their props in. They work hard. Some people work super hard on some of those props, and they look amazing.
And honestly, like if a real person like wanted to like sneak a gun in or something,
they could.
They can. Yeah.
Good. If you're wearing a giant armor, you can sneak in a gun. Like, are they gonna make you get our armor and expect it? No, they're not really. So yeah. Like just better protocols for people to take their props in, or have a section in each con dedicated for people to take their props in and do their pictures, and then they could keep them in storage there and get them whenever they want, or after the con is done. That's a good idea right there.
Well, it's just like, you know, they already, like a lot of cons already make people go through like metal detectors and stuff. So it's like if you're gonna have people line up before they get into the hall anyways, just have another station to check their weapons as they go in. You know what I'm saying? It's like backpacks. We're all used to backpack checks now.
Yeah.
Or bag checks, whatever.
Yeah.
And some like nothing against Jim. Jim, don't hate me. But like at Santa Fe Comic-Con, we had to get metal detected. Like we had to get wiped for that. Like I was Mara. I was cosplaying Mara, and it's a bodysuit. It's a skin tight bodysuit, and he's like, "Ma'am, I need to scan you." And I'm like, "What could I possibly hide up against anything? My body, like you know." So it's the security practices are a little ridiculous in the fact that like I don't really think they're effective. They're just there for show, you know? And I don't really think it makes any of us feel safer. It just makes all of us more annoyed.
Yeah. The annoying factor kicks in like, damn it, I gotta go through this stupid damn thing. I did have a question. Oh yes, Nick. One of these days, we'll do El Paso Comic-Con. One of these days. I like El Paso. They got Chico's Tacos.
Any cosplayer who's trying to become a guest at a convention, it's simply just going to that convention, like on their Facebook page, or if you see them at a con, whatever, introducing yourself and just asking. Because the worst thing that they could do is say no.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not the end of the world if you get a no.
Right.
Just move on.
Exactly. And not hold grudges like I do.
Don't hold grudges. Grudges are bad.
Like conventions who are like, yeah, maybe some other time I'll be like, I'll remember that.
Yeah, we're considered media, so we get free passes when we go to cons, Nick. I know, it's awesome. Yes, it is.
Yeah, you guys do press for conventions.
We're considered press, so we don't really have to buy passes.
Okay, I have a question for you, Ray.
Yes, Kamon has a question for me. Oh, exciting!
So being press at a convention, do you ever run into problems when you, you know, like film or interview just regular attendees who may be cosplaying? And
no, we usually don't have. I have one problem. We've been doing this for 3 years here in Albuquerque, and the people at the conventions still don't recognize me. That's my problem. That's my problem. No, I'm just kidding. No, we don't have any problems. How could they not recognize this handsome face?
I can just imagine someone being like, yeah, I was just in New Mexico briefly for a con and some guy just yelled at me for not knowing who he was. Like,
I walk out like, do you not know who I am? I am Ray Coffie. That's right, Mr. Coffie to you.
We should put a crown on you.
Hey, Ray in Spanish actually means king.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so give me a damn crown. I'm royal up in here.
That would be funny. Alright, so that was, I guess, all of the controversies that we covered. I think we covered pretty much like the main issues that I see a lot in the community. I
remember going to an anime convention here in Albuquerque and they had a hentai section.
We didn't talk about that. There's one more thing that we needed to talk about.
One more thing.
You have failed us on the topic reader position. There was one thing that I want to talk about.
What is it?
Yes. It's about sexualization, is that a word?
Yes.
In the cosplay community. Oh. Over-sexualizing characters and costumes and using sex to sell. Okay. This is a long topic, my friend. Okay, so like, where do we start? Obviously, like, cosplay leaves a lot of freedom to cosplay who you want, how you want. And a lot of people feel empowered by taking their clothes off. You know what I mean? And they over-sexualize the characters a lot. And, okay, how do I say this? I don't have a problem with other people cosplaying characters like more sexy or anything like that. I personally won't do it myself because I feel like there's an art to cosplay of getting the character, of like bringing the character to life in as much detail as possible. So I won't do it myself, but I don't have a problem with other people doing it because you know, it's other people. They're allowed to do what they want, how they want. But there is definitely an exploitation in the community of fame and monetization of people who do sexy cosplays, or who just put on a character wig and then wear like lingerie and call it like a cosplay, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I have friends who do that. I have friends who, you know, they make a living off of just doing like nerdy themed porn, but like, or porn, or like, you know, nude photos, whatever. But like the where I like to draw the line is what you call it. Like, I wouldn't call it cosplay. I would call it like a sexy like a I'm sorry, Amy Fantasy, I love you. But I would call it like a Lucina inspired lingerie photo shoot. I wouldn't call it a cosplay. You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna name drop people? Okay.
No. We're gonna do that for another episode.
I only name dropped Amy Fantasy because she's my friend and I love her and she knows that. Also go follow her because she does awesome work. But yeah, like that's, you know, it can't be helped because sex sells here in America, and where there's money, people just take it.
Yes.
Know? And so like there's nothing we could ever possibly do about it. And it's just a matter of like, you know, what your taste is, and you can't be bothered by it. You just have to let people do what they want to do, you know?
It's America, land of free, home of the brave. Do whatever you want.
Yes, Fem, Ash Ketchum, and a Pokemon bra. That I have a problem with that too.
Some of the characters are gender bend, super sexy. I was like, I don't remember this guy in anime.
Yeah, you can properly gender bend a character, which is taking like a character and then doing the other gender version of it without having to over-sexualize it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think there's a time and place for everything.
There is a time and place for everything. Maybe we should have a new Comic-Con and call it Sexy Con.
We should.
Sexy
oh my God.
Con. How do you like that?
I would be down for that. And then everybody can just do like ridiculously over-sexualized versions.
Everything will be over-sexualized. And believe me, security will be tight because, you know, pervs.
There's already a Sexy Con?
There's already a Sexy Con? Well, it's not officially called Sexy Con, but there is something like a Sexy Con. Damn it, I wanted to like do that. I was going to do that.
We can make a Sexy Con.
I was going to do Sexy Con.
It's not really Sexy Con then. Sexy Con is...
But it have to be 21 and over.
You have to be 21 and over for Sexy Con.
No, 21 and over because there needs to be drinks.
Yeah, so if there's ever a Sexy Con, you have to be 21 and over to be at Sexy Con. Because I'm going to go to Sexy Con. I think that would make a great SGNS episode. They need exposure, and I want to give it to them.
And I want to make a point.
No one wants to see Ray's exposed.
Oh, well, I'm not going to be
My
exposed.
live video
just for you
ended
guys'
because of our
comfort.
shit connection.
It's not pretty.
I want to make an important point, too, is that, like, here we are talking and laughing about, you know, about having over-sexualized characters. And I think there's an important point there that we are still laughing and having fun about it.
Yes, we are.
And it doesn't matter, like, you know, we're not going to bash anybody for doing sexualized cosplays and...
Never bash anybody. It's your body.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want.
Exactly. You just have fun
and
with
you
it.
rock that sexy costume proud. If people are looking at you, then you just walk it. If you're a guy or girl, whatever, you just do what you gotta do.
Yeah. But also, like...
Be happy while you're doing it. Sorry.
Just a message. PSA to everybody out there. Please also appreciate people who put in work to, like, non-sexual cosplays. Because it's a lot of work, you know?
It is.
And most of the characters out there are already overtly sexualized, just in their original design as is.
Yes, because the Japanese are a bit pervy.
Don't complain.
Japanese are a bit pervy, so they do over-sexualize their characters a lot.
Yeah. So that's a huge topic, is just whether...
Don't slut shame.
No slut shaming. Yeah. No slut shaming.
No slut shaming. No fat shaming. No slut. Don't shame. Don't shame anybody.
Yeah. The only person you can shame is yourself. Or shame yourself if you're doing over-sexualized cosplays and you're not happy about it.
Colossal Con is considered to be 21 and plus con. Did not know that. Thank you, Moon.
That's cool.
Thank you. Did not know that. Fun fact.
Wait, I do want to bring up something.
She's bringing up another topic.
It's about
I'm gonna shift this over here.
It's on the topic of over-sexualized cosplays, and I have to name drop this person because this is where I got it from. So Momo-kun. A lot of you people know Momo-kun. She's very controversial lately. Actually, probably most of her career, actually.
Most of her career.
There was this one time, I'm not bad-mouthing her at all. I'm just saying this is where, like, you know, my idea came from. There was one time where Momo-kun posted a sexy photo shoot of Kana from Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, the anime, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yeah.
And it's the character is like a little girl. She's supposed to be like 5 or something, like kindergarten age. And she did like a sexy photo shoot of that character. Like she was Kana, had the whole 9 yards and everything, and then she was like, you know, lifting up her dress, showing her ass and stuff. And there were comments that were like, yo, this might be like child pornography, because it's like you're trying to be somebody who is
a 5-year-old.
A 5-year-old, and then you're being sexual with it. And so, that's a really hard subject to tackle. For me, I don't have an opinion on it because I didn't have time to think about it before we started shooting this. But like, I can see both sides, because it's like, yes, the character is supposed to be a child, and a child should not be involved in anything like that, adult like that. But at the same time, I can see where Momo-kun is coming from, where she thinks like, it's just a character, it's not a real person. There's obviously some fantasy and things that aren't real, so it might be okay for that.
Yeah. Since it's, I think that's the, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, it'll come up eventually, but that's the loophole. It's a fantasy, it's a cartoon, so they use that loophole.
Well, she also, I think, I don't know if it was Momo-kun or just like people who were commenting on it.
We have less than a minute.
Was just that like maybe she's just cosplaying an older version of Kana, and then there was stuff like, no, she looks exactly like the character and blah blah blah. And I don't really know where I stand on it. Like, I really see both sides, but I strongly feel like the character is a character, you know, and like, it's not a real person, so what harm is it really harming, you know? And like, most anime characters are under 18, like they're 16-year-olds in high school and whatever, and like there's a sexual element to a lot of anime, and like being sexual is fun, you know, like making jokes and like haha, like whatever, it's fun, people feel confident and they feel good about themselves doing stuff like that. But I just feel like as long as you're being safe about the activities that you're doing, your live stream ended too. There is a limit. I was wondering if there is
there is
a limit on Instagram live stream, which there is. But yeah, I just feel like as long as you're being safe and you're not like obviously advertising that like child sexualization is okay, then I don't really see a problem with it. It's a character, you know, and it's not a real person, so
yeah, again, loopholes.
I don't know, I don't have an opinion on it, but I see both sides, so
it's always these spicy topics.
But that's why I picked this topic tonight, cosplay controversies, because I thought I wanted to have a debate and I wanted to have some tough subjects to talk about, you know.
Oh yeah.
So, it's such a dark note. I don't want to end on such a dark note.
On a happy note, there's coupons on the McDonald's app, so you can go get yourself a free sundae when you buy a burger. Or
we're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm sorry. Hello. Hey, it's Maddie. Hey, Maddie, say hi. Say hi to me, Madison. Madison, say hi. Madison, say hi.
Why has Maddie joined your live stream but not mine? Alright, Maddie, let's see how it is.
She's like, this guy's so freaking weird.
So yeah, no, let's just end with like the positive stuff, which is, you know, let people cosplay who they want, how they want. You can make decisions on how you want to cosplay, but you can't control how other people do it. And please remember that cosplay is about fun and nothing else. I mean, it's about other things like art and whatever you make it to be, but the most important thing about cosplay is that you have fun and that we're in this safe community. Bitch!
A little hard.
Wow, Maddie. Okay, Maddie just put in the chat that she likes Ray more than me, so whatever.
Oh.
I see how it is, girl.
That's fighting words.
Okay. Yeah, that's fighting words. I might just choke Ray out here right now.
Damn, Madison, you about
What are
to
you
get
gonna
me
do if you
killed
don't?
right now. And yes,
I'll
that
be the new Ray.
Wendy's cosplay was bomb.com.
So.
He wouldn't look so good with a beard.
Yeah, so anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us on our first podcast. Things might have been awkward because this is our first time doing it, and personally I take some time to just get warm and comfy and stuff. And thank you everybody who joined our live streams. It's really nice seeing all this activity that we're getting to. It's really nice having a conversation with not just the two of us, but with all of you guys.
Madison said, cosplay is about becoming a fake anime babe.
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
So be sure to follow me, Kamon Tari, at Instagram if you want to participate in our live streams, and then I'm on all of my other social media. And then also be sure to check out SGNS.
Super geeky, nerdy show. Don't forget, Kamon Tari. You can find her.
Thank you guys so much. We love them? Did you
Yes,
say that?
we love them.
We love them in a
And
non-sexually harassing
yes,
way.
Madison, I love you too.
Thank you guys so
You
much.
Maddie Muffin, you.
See you next time.
Bye, guys. This might be a weekly thing. We don't know yet. We're still figuring things out. But we'll try.